So you're getting ready to buy your first motorcycle, and after much deliberation talking with the Elon Musk poster above your bed, you're considering an electric motorcycle? Interesting choice. Thank you for coming to the internet for your wake-up call. The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. In our current phase of late capitalism where tech bros are spending legal tender on digital images of apathetic primates, electric vehicles are seemingly all the rage. Jigsaw squids, ADV dads, and Harley simps, while all varying in the specifics of their cringeworthy identity crises, have more similarities than differences when their bikes are compared to an electric motorcycle. Baptized in 93 octane, any motorcyclist riding on a bike with an internal combustion engine enjoys the sensations that a traditional motorcycle evokes. The sound of the exhaust, the vibration of the engine, the visceral feeling of banging up and down through gears. If every experienced motorcyclist is so infatuated with their dyno drinking machine, are electric motorcycles marketed towards new riders? I would assume it is easier for those who have never felt the emotional connection of a traditional motorcycle to be sold on the value of their electric imposter. But does it even make sense for a beginner to start out on an electric motorcycle? Well, let's find out. This video today is brought to you by us. We're going to talk more about the benefits of our community on yammynoob.co later in the video. If you have yet to do so, make sure you click the bell and get notified when all the new videos drop. We're up to 9 videos a week, folks. That's wild. A beginner rider on an electric motorcycle, this is going to be interesting. I suppose we will start out with the positives, bearing in mind the fact that there are only a few. We'll get the nice stuff out of the way first before this video gets banned in California. One of the major benefits of starting on an electric motorcycle is its ease of use. An electric motorcycle has far fewer moving parts than your traditional ICE motorcycle, which means it is both easier to ride and easier to maintain. Most electric motorcycles operate without the use of a clutch or standard gearbox, which makes it a little more approachable for those who are not comfortable in their ability to operate a manual transmission. Does this detract from the overall riding experience? Yes. Is easier always better? No way. But hey, for the right aristocrat with more cash than practical skills, maybe it's a valid option. But learning to ride on a single-speed electric motorcycle will definitely limit your future riding ability. Let's say your friend gets a sweet new Turbo Hayabusa. Guess who the last person he lets ride is going to be? The bozo who doesn't know how to ride a motorcycle with a clutch and thinks gasoline is problematic. Learning to ride on an electric motorcycle is not going to set you up with the necessary skills to actually ride a normal motorcycle. You will have a massive learning curve to overcome if you eventually decide you would rather have fun than be a spokesperson for blind consumerism. Sorry, that was a little harsh. A motorcycle powered by an electric motor also won't necessitate the required maintenance you'll find on a traditional motorcycle. You won't have the need for oil changes or coolant flushes, which will save you a whole 1 hour of your time per year. Oh yeah, I am supposed to be positive right now, so yeah, if you're not mechanically savvy at all and really just want to be able to unplug your bike in the morning and go, maybe the lack of performing super simple maintenance, literally once or twice a year, will be a motivating factor. It seems like every positive for the electric motorcycle has to have a caveat. You know what? Screw it. I am done trying to be unbiased. Here we go. What electric motorcycles lack in required maintenance, they make up for in proprietary computer-controlled electronics that literally no one knows how to work on other than the manufacturers. A normal motorcycle won't start. It's pretty easy to troubleshoot. Fuel, air, spark, compression. An electric motorcycle won't start. Hope you read the fine print on your warranty and have a flat bet on speed dial, because that puppy is headed back to the dealership. Speaking of fine print, do you know all the benefits of joining our community over at yammynoob.co? Not only do you get to hang out with other electric motorcycle haters like us and riders from around the world in our Discord server, you're also going to get 10% discount on shop.yammynoob.co. That's right, that means 10% off of helmets, boots, tires, cardo-comm systems, toolkits, and all the good stuff you need to be comfortable and confident on your motorcycle. We only sell products we use, endorse, no sponsor deals or contractual obligations, just the best gear for the best squids on the internet. Plus, every dollar you spend gets you 1 entry to win our giveaway bikes. It all starts with heading over to yammynoob.co. Go check it out, packages as low as $5 a month, and reap those fine benefits. Now back to the video. A huge factor that makes an electric motorcycle a poor choice for a beginner rider is the cost. You can find a used motorcycle in decent condition for less than $5,000 in most parts of the good old USA. Hell, there are quite a few motorcycles that cost less than that brand new. We actually have a video that covers the best motorcycles for less than $5,000 available in 2022. If you want to go hear our picks, go and check that out. Alternatively, an electric motorcycle is going to cost you a lot more, like 15 grand more. There are some less expensive options, but they're going to be more akin to a moped or electric scooter with slower speeds and shorter range. And if that's what you're into, go for it, just get a scooter. But an electric motorcycle that looks and rides sort of like a real motorcycle is going to cost you quite a bit of coin. Not to mention the features that need to be unlocked after initial purchase. We talked all about that in our video on Zero motorcycles. If you haven't seen that one, go back and hear the cold hard facts. People will say, but the savings on fuel outweigh the cost. Brother, you would have to ride like 100,000 miles to break even on the cost of an electric motorcycle versus a $10,000 bike plus fuel. In what sort of world is anyone planning on riding 100,000 miles on a bike that has less than 200-mile range anyways? Can any motorcycle manufactured currently even last 100,000 miles? We probably won't know for a while, since it will take like 3 years of charging to be able to even get a bike to travel that far. A new rider needs something affordable for countless reasons. You have to insure it, you need to buy more gear, you could drop it, or you can get bored and want to move on, or it might not even be for you. Another reason opting for an electric motorcycle might be a poor choice for a beginner is the limited charging infrastructure. Depending on where you are at in the country, there may not be public charging stations available for you to recharge your bike while you are at work or in town. There are plenty of other anxieties a new rider has to overcome, so there's no need to be so masochistic and add range anxiety to the mix. The high-end electric motorcycle gets between 100 and 150 miles of combined range. Some cheaper options get even less than that. And we've real-world tested some electric bikes, and let me tell you, those range figures are usually pretty optimistic. So having to constantly think about how far away you are from your house and how your throttle use is affecting your battery consumption is just an unnecessary hassle. Similar to how you don't want to buy a super old bike as a beginner so you don't have to spend more time wrenching than riding, you don't want to have to spend more time charging than riding either. Not only is there a shortage of charging infrastructure, there's also a small service network. You will more than likely be limited to having your electric bike serviced at the dealership, and at that point, you might as well just buy a Ducati and save a little bit of money. Yes, save money by buying a Ducati. You won't be able to do a quick Google search and find step-by-step directions and basically do anything you want to do to your bike like you can with a traditional motorcycle, which means you can't just buy a turbo kit online and slap it on the carport outside of your apartment. And if you can't turbocharge your motorcycle, what are you even doing with your life? With an electric motorcycle, you won't be able to do any mods outside of unlocking features. There's also aren't really any mods to be done. There's no exhaust, so no need to put a slip-on for sick power gains. Speaking of sick power gains, there are some aspects of electric motorcycles that don't make them the safest options for novice riders. The high power figures on an electric motorcycle make them less than ideal. Some electric bikes boast power figures of over 100 foot-pounds of torque, which isn't exactly the same as a similar torque figures on an ICE motorcycle based on how they make their power, but you could still get a novice rider in trouble as they yeet themselves into infinity with a simple twist of the wrist. They are also virtually silent. There's nothing more unsettling than going 70 miles per hour on a motorcycle that no one can hear over the road noise. It is already hard enough to be seen on a normal motorcycle, hence the need for sick underglow and bold graphics. Combine that with literally zero, pun unintended, noise. Instead of giving up on your emissions, you might be giving up the ghost entirely. I guess the better question to answer is, what would make a beginner gravitate towards an electric motorcycle? It sure as hell isn't the ease of entry. Is it for environmental impact? Unless you already drive an electric car, there is no reason that finding an eco-friendly solution for your main mode of transportation shouldn't be your first task at hand. And honestly, not to sound like a dick, but riding a bicycle is the most eco-friendly thing you can do. That is before even getting into the specifics of how many natural resources go into the manufacturing of electric vehicles, or the fact that a majority of the energy used for electricity comes from fossil fuels. If you want to have a truly carbon-neutral transportation, ride a bicycle. If you want a simple, easy to use, and reliable individual transportation that gets 100 mpgs, get a Honda Super Cub or a cheap dual sport like a DRZ 200. If you want an electric motorcycle because it is the coolest and newest thing, well, hey, maybe go for it. But don't come crying back to me when all your riding buddies don't invite you to ride with them anymore and a certain manufacturer bricks your bike because he didn't fork over the monthly service fees. If you're looking to get into motorcycling, I'd recommend you hold off on the electric route until the technology is tested and the infrastructure is in place. There are just way too many good options to start for beginner right now in a traditional ICE. Otherwise, you're just racing to a red light. There's no denying that electric vehicles, motorcycles included, are going to become increasingly common as emissions regulations tighten and manufacturers of ICE motorcycles struggle to keep up. But before that happens, take some time to enjoy motorcycling as it was originally intended before everything dissipates into a digital hellscape. Get that loud motorcycle, leak oil onto your garage floor, put that turbo on your Busa. We're in the final stretch of motorcycling as we know it, so we might as well have a little bit of fun with it before it's long gone. If you enjoyed this video, you should subscribe and get notified on new videos so you can check them out as soon as they are released. Do you ride an electric motorcycle or did you start on one as a beginner? Let me know in the comments how wrong I am. Honestly, I'd love to hear the opinions of diehard electric motorcycle riders if there are any. Fact. The Canary Islands are named after dogs, not birds. The archipelago is actually part of Spain. In Spanish, the islands' name are Ilha Canarias, which comes from the Latin phrase Canari Insulae for island of dogs. Goodbye. Well, look at you. You've made it to the end of another Yammy Noob video. You should consider yourself pretty lucky because I have curated this one right over here for you to continue watching. It's probably just as good as the one you just saw. Unless you hated the one you just saw. I don't know, maybe leave me a comment down below about how much you hated it as well too. Or just keep watching this one. Make sure you keep watching Yammy Noob. Don't forget to keep watching Yammy Noob. That's the most important thing. Keep watching Yammy Noob.